Steelers fans got hit with a wave of frustration over the weekend after hearing some disappointing news about one of the most important players potentially joining the team. And yeah, we're diving right into that, right at the top of today's episode, because there's no way to sugarcoat it. It's not the kind of news you want heading into the second phase of the offseason. And to make matters even more complicated, there's been some back and forth about another key figure inside the organization. One story says everything's fine, another says the opposite. I'm going to give you both sides of that situation, and then tell you which version I believe makes the most sense based on everything we've been tracking. But before we jump into that, I want to give a quick shout out to everyone who's been supporting the channel. Last week, we saw a solid spike in growth. 67 new subscribers joined us, making it our best week yet. That momentum was incredible, and we're aiming to keep it rolling. Our target for today is 100 new subscribers. If you're new here and you care about everything surrounding this franchise, stick with us. We bring daily coverage, honest takes, and deep analysis that keeps you informed and engaged. Let's push past that target and start the week strong. Now, let's get to the core of it. The quarterback drama that's left the entire Steelers fan base holding its breath. This past weekend, the player at the center of it all attended his usual annual event, something he's done for years. It was a high-profile gathering, and typically he rolls in wearing something flashy. This time, he kept it simple. Navy blue suit, sunglasses, classic look. And while fans were analyzing every detail of his appearance, the bigger issue came into focus. The second phase of the NFL offseason program officially begins today, and he hasn't signed a contract. That's right, still no deal. That alone is enough to make people uneasy, but considering the timeline, it raises serious questions about his intentions. Now you might be sitting there asking, if he's going to sign, why not just do it now? What's the holdup? That's the same question a lot of us are asking. It seems like such a small thing, especially since we're still technically in the voluntary stages of off-season training. But there are some key factors to keep in mind. First off, phases 1 and 2 of the off-season program aren't about on-field competition. They're mostly about team meetings, strength and conditioning, and basic individual drills. There's no real football being played yet, not in the way we think of it. And maybe, just maybe, this veteran quarterback is thinking, why rush into something if it's not absolutely necessary? Let's be honest. The man has 2 full decades of NFL experience. He's seen every possible defense. He knows how to prepare. So maybe in his mind, he doesn't see value in showing up to lift, weights, or sit through early spring meetings. Maybe he's waiting until phase 3, which kicks off on May 27th, when organized team activities start and the reps actually start to matter. That's when quarterbacks get on the field with receivers. That's when timing starts to develop. It's still non-contact and there's no equipment involved, but it's more structured, more competitive. That's where the real preparation begins. So is it concerning that he hasn't signed yet? Yes. But is it understandable? Also, yes, there's a lot of nuance here. A lot of speculation. One angle people are discussing is that he doesn't want to commit until he's sure of how he wants to spend the next year of his life. Another possibility is that he's trying to avoid the wave of criticism that comes when a star signs a big deal but skips voluntary workouts. Remember what happened last year? He was blasted in the media for not showing up with his former team. He doesn't want that again. He knows the optics matter, especially in a city like Pittsburgh where football is personal. So maybe he's thinking better to hold off entirely than to sign and immediately be labeled as disengaged. And yet, ironically, by not signing, he's already drawing criticism. It's a lose-lose scenario in some ways. If he signs and skips, he's seen as uncommitted. If he waits to sign, he's seen as hesitant. Either way, the noise is already building. And it's not just the fans. Inside that locker room, inside that coaching staff, people are starting to look at the calendar and wonder how long they'll have to wait before they can start building chemistry with their potential new leader. Now, personally, I don't think it's a huge deal if he skips phase 1 and 2. Like I said, the man is a legend. He's not some rookie trying to earn a spot. He's a seasoned vet with an incredible understanding of the game. But when phase 3 rolls around, that's when the questions start to matter. If he's not on the field by the start of organized team activities, which is less than a month away, then it might be time to start getting worried. Because those reps, Those conversations, that shared time on the field, it matters. It's how chemistry gets built. It's how trust develops between quarterbacks and receivers, between leaders and the rest of the squad. And make no mistake, if he does sign with Pittsburgh, he'll need that time. He'll be walking into a system that has its own identity, its own rhythm, and its own expectations. And the only way to get truly aligned with that is to show up and put in the work. That's why for me, the key date to watch is not today, not tomorrow, but June 10th. That's when mandatory minicamp starts. If he's not there by then, if he still hasn't signed, that's when it becomes a problem. Because once we hit that stage, it's no longer optional. That's when veterans are expected to be there. That's when absences become headlines. And if he's still holding out by then, it could start to affect the locker room dynamics. There's another wrinkle to this story, though, and it's something that's flown under the radar for most of the national media. Reports are surfacing that he's been spending a lot of time in California helping out close friends who were affected by the recent wildfires. These are people who lost homes, possessions, and pieces of their lives that can't be replaced. And by all accounts, he stepped up in a huge way, not just writing checks, but physically helping, staying involved, supporting them emotionally. That kind of commitment takes time. It takes energy. And maybe, just maybe, he believes that's a better use of his time right now than being in Pittsburgh lifting weights or going over playbooks. He already knows. There's also another layer that's come to light recently. It appears he may have gotten married. Over the weekend at the Kentucky Derby, he was spotted wearing a wedding ring. And while he's kept his personal life extremely private, people close to the situation believe he's in a serious relationship with someone who has avoided the spotlight entirely. No social media, no interviews, just living life. If that's true, and if they recently tied the knot, it's possible that he's simply taking some well-deserved time to enjoy a private honeymoon, away from the chaos of the league. Honestly, who could blame him? All these pieces paint a picture that's far more complex than just he doesn't want to sign. This isn't just about football. It's about timing, priorities, and perception. And from where I'm standing, none of this changes the core belief I've had from the beginning. He's going to end up in Pittsburgh. It's just a matter of when. My gut tells me it'll happen sometime before OTAs start. Maybe even a week before to get some early work in. But for now, the unfortunate reality for Steelers fans is that the wait continues. That's the tough pill to swallow today. As much as everyone wants closure, it looks like it's going to take a little longer. What do you think? Will he finally sign by the end of May? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know. Are you still hopeful or starting to feel concerned? Now, let's switch gears and talk about another storyline brewing around the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this one is just as intriguing, if not more. It involves wide receiver George Pickens and the mixed signals we're hearing about his relationship with the team. Depending on who you listen to, he either loves being in Pittsburgh or he's on his way out after this season. And the truth? It's probably somewhere in between. But let's break it down and get into what's actually going on here. So here's the first thing that came out. According to one source close to the team, George Pickens is reportedly happy in Pittsburgh. The story goes that he has a strong bond with his head coach, really values that relationship, and enjoys being part of this franchise. That's the version that paints a pretty positive picture. A young star receiver who feels supported, connected, and motivated to build something special in this organization. That's the side of the story you want to believe, right? But then comes the other version. According to another insider, things aren't nearly as rosy. They claim that Pickens' relationship with the organization has become strained, and that people inside the building believe this could be his last year with the Steelers. That's a pretty bold statement. It suggests that behind the scenes there's tension, maybe some disagreements, maybe some frustration, and that the clock might already be ticking on his time in Pittsburgh. So, which one is true? Is he staying long term, or is this his farewell season? Here's where it gets interesting. Both of these accounts might hold some truth, because if you've been following Pickens' trajectory, you know he's a passionate player. He's emotional, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and when things aren't going right, he shows it. That can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, you love that fire. You want that kind of energy in your offense. But on the other hand, it can create waves, especially if a young player feels like he's not being used properly or respected enough. And let's not forget the whispers that circulated last season about possible trade talks, even if nothing came from it. The fact that it was being discussed publicly, whether real or not, probably didn't sit well with Pickens. No player wants to feel like they're being dangled as trade bait. And when you combine that with a team trying to figure out who their quarterback is going to be, what their identity is on offense, and whether or not they're truly ready to contend, it's easy to see how things could feel unstable for a player like him. At this point, the idea that Pickens might be on a prove-it year isn't far-fetched. The team may be watching him closely this season, not just for his production, but for his growth. Can he step up as a leader? Can he stay focused when the ball's not coming his way? Can he show up to meetings on time, keep a consistent attitude, and mature into a true WR1? Because let's be real, if he wants a contract extension, those are the things that are going to matter just as much as his highlight reel catches. And from the team side, they're not going to hand over a massive deal without seeing those boxes checked. Especially after some of the contract drama we've seen around the league in recent years, where players hold out, demand trades, or create locker room tension. Teams are being extra cautious. Now, if George Pickens puts together a breakout season, shows growth on and off the field, and continues to build chemistry with whoever lines up under center, then yes, an extension could absolutely be in the cards. But let's be honest, it probably won't happen this offseason. That timing doesn't make sense right now. The organization needs to see more, and that means Pickens will need to deliver this year if he wants to lock in a long-term future with the black and gold. But if things don't go smoothly, if the frustrations boil over, if there are more incidents of visible sideline emotion, or if he starts pushing for a deal before the front office is ready, then things could get complicated very quickly. This could turn into another one of those situations where you start to hear rumblings about trade possibilities again. Not because the team wants to move him, but because they don't want a fractured relationship to poison the culture in the locker room. Look at what happened last year with other teams dealing with disgruntled receivers. The tension can drag on through the offseason, distract from camp, and eventually force a team to make a decision it doesn't want to make. The Steelers don't want that. They've built this culture around discipline, hard work, and team first mentality. If they sense that the relationship with Pickens is turning into a long-term issue, they might decide it's better to cut bait than to force something that isn't working. Personally, I think trading him would be a mistake. The talent is undeniable. He's explosive, he's a deep threat, and he brings something to the table that you just don't find every day. But if the situation behind the scenes really is deteriorating, and I'm not saying it is, but then that might be a route the front office feels they need to explore. The real question becomes, can the Steelers afford to lose him? Because let's take a look at the rest of the wide receiver room. Outside of George Pickens, who do you trust to consistently make plays? Calvin Austin III has shown flashes, and I like his speed and agility, but he hasn't proven he can step up as a number 2 guy. Not yet, at least. He's more of a complementary piece, someone who can stretch the field and contribute in certain packages, but not someone you build a passing game around. Then there's Robert Woods. He's a veteran, he's reliable, and in my opinion, he could be a solid addition, but he's not the player he once was. He's not going to give you that game-changing presence that a guy like Pickens can, and Roman Wilson is intriguing, no doubt about that. The rookie has a lot of tools, and I'm excited to see what he becomes, but banking on him to be a top option right away? That's a big ask. So from where I'm sitting, losing Pickens would be a blow to this offense. It turns what could be a strength into a potential liability. Because when you look at this Steelers team, they're not overflowing with playmakers. The offensive line is still coming together. The quarterback situation is still in flux. This is not the time to be losing a dynamic weapon at wide receiver. That's why the team has to handle this situation carefully. They need to communicate with Pickens, let him know where he stands, and give him a chance to grow without feeling like he's constantly being scrutinized or doubted. And at the same time, Pickens needs to show that he can be part of the solution, not part of the problem. If both sides meet in the middle, this relationship can work. Now, there's still plenty of time. Now, speaking of time, we just got an update on the jersey numbers for the incoming rookies. And yeah, I know it's a small thing, but for fans like us, it's one of those fun details that helps us visualize what this new group is going to look like on the field. Will Howard will be wearing number 18. Caleb Johnson couldn't get number 2 because Mason Rudolph still has it, so Johnson is taking number 20. Jack Sawyer is rocking 33. Dante Kent grabs 34. Carson Bruner is 44. Y.A. Black will wear 78. And the number 99 is officially going to Derek Harmon. I'm hyped to see that one on the field. So that's the latest out of Pittsburgh for now. We've got more coverage coming your way later today, including a live segment where we're diving deeper into all the offseason moves, rumors, and predictions. That starts at 5:30 Eastern. Don't miss it. But before we go, I want to hear from you. What do you think is going to happen with George Pickens? Will he stick with the Steelers beyond this season, or is this the beginning of the end? Drop a 1 in the comments if you think he stays. Drop a 2 if you think he's going after 2025. Let's see where everyone stands. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a shocking turn of events that has sent waves through the NFL landscape, Trevor Lawrence, the highly touted quarterback and former number 1 overall pick, has reportedly agreed to join the Pittsburgh Steelers. The announcement has come as a surprise to many, especially considering Lawrence's deep ties to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the team that drafted him and where he was expected to be the franchise cornerstone for years to come. The move signals a dramatic shift for both franchises. For Pittsburgh, it represents a bold leap toward reestablishing themselves as true contenders in the AFC. The Steelers have long been in search of a successor to Ben Roethlisberger, whose retirement left a gaping hole at quarterback. Despite efforts to patch the position with a rotating cast of signal callers, consistency remained elusive. Until now, Lawrence, known for his composure, athleticism, and football IQ, arrives in Pittsburgh with immense expectations. His college career at Clemson, highlighted by a national championship and a 34-2 record as a starter, set the tone for what many believed would be a seamless transition to NFL stardom. While his time with the Jaguars showed flashes of brilliance, it was marred by coaching instability and roster rebuilding. In Pittsburgh, he enters a franchise steeped in tradition, with a winning culture and one of the league's most respected coaching staffs led by Mike Tomlin. The fans in the Steel City are already buzzing with excitement, envisioning Lawrence in black and gold, leading a young but talented offense that includes rising stars at wide receiver and a stout offensive line. The Steelers front office, known for its calculated and disciplined approach, appears to have made a decisive move that could alter the team's trajectory for the next decade. As details of the deal continue to emerge, one thing is certain: Trevor Lawrence saying yes to the Steelers has injected new life into one of the NFL's most storied franchises. The upcoming season now carries even greater intrigue as Pittsburgh looks to climb back to the top of the AFC with a new face under center, one that many believe still has MVP potential waiting to be unlocked. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.